Yo, hello, it's Rich here. Hope everyone's well, good. If you don't know me, my name's Rich. Only by name, certainly not by bank balance. What have I got here? I've got another Harley Benton. It's a bit of a different one this time. This is a limited edition Harley Benton based on a Mustang, as you can see. They made 60 of these. I don't know which number of those 60 this particular one is, but it's it's interesting, and I just wanted to share my thoughts on it with you, really, because I've not had an offset guitar before. I'm not really an offset kind of man, so, and for those other people who maybe not the same, I thought I'd just go through some of the features and the characteristics of what you get with this and with an offset type guitar, really. Because the nearest sort of thing you'd get in the Squier line, they do one with the competition stripes, which is a limited edition of their own Squiers. But the Squiers seem they're getting thinner and thinner and a bit more like a toy, that price point. Whereas this does actually still feel like a guitar, doesn't feel like a toy. So let's have a little close up. Candy apple red. It's very pretty. And you see in the light some of the sparkle coming off that. Let's try the back. It's a bit bigger surface. Not picking it up too well. Trust me, it's sparkly. It has got a Rosacer fretboard, which is thermally treated maple, and it actually looks almost like ebony. It's got a really nice colour to it. The neck on the back, which is maple, it's got a fairly darkish kind of colour to it, which is also pretty. Oops. Matching headstock. Obviously it's got the older logo on here because it's an older guitar. Your very typical style tuners, which you get on Squiers, Affinities and so on. That's normal. Wilkinson pickups on this. Now, Wilkinson, you know, I've got obviously a very good reputation, and a lot of the Harley Benton stuff now is all Roswell pickups. Story goes apparently that they stopped using Wilkinson because they were coming out of the factory in China, and there were some inconsistencies on the magnets being used, and they weren't happy about it. So they kind of went down their own road, in-house ones called Roswells. So whether that's really the full story or whether Wilkinson, I always think that maybe Wilkinson or JHS, they kind of thought, you know what, we're supplying all that stuff to vintage branded guitars, which are, you know, sort of budgety guitars too, but a bit more than Harley Benton. So why on earth are we giving ourselves competition by putting our own good hardware and pickups into a lot of Harley Bentons? I mean, I know that some of the more expensive Harley Bentons still use some of the Wilkinson hardware, but they don't use the pickups. Anyway, so that's that quick story. You've got it's a Tune-o-matic style kind of bridge on here in chrome, which is the fit and finish on it's good actually. A volume and a tone, and of course this Mustang style guitars, you haven't got a three-way selector switch. You've got these toggle switches here instead. This one here, bridge pickup on or off. This one here, neck pickup on or off, and then obviously you can have them both on. What else do you get? You've got a belly cut, which is good because my belly is big. And probably the big thing for those who don't know is the scale length on these are short. Should be a 24-inch scale length. So the scale length is from the nut to the bridge. Boop. And I mean, I'll hold that in the right place. Yep, that is 24 inches. So you're typically on a Strat be 25.5 inches, so it's shorter. So what does that mean? Well, obviously the fret distance themselves is slightly less because this one's got 21 frets on it, so you still got the same kind of number of frets, but obviously because the scale's shorter, they've got to be a little bit smaller. So smaller hands, good thing. A bit easier for your scales. The frets are smaller. The other thing is the string tension is a lot less on these as well. so easier to play for small hands. It doesn't need as much pressure to hold a note, bend a note, and yeah, it's a little bit easier for scales. So I guess that could be seen as an advantage. What else can we tell you? What about the body width, thickness? People get hung up on that, don't they? How wide is this body? This is 45 mil. 45 mil. Now the Squier Mustangs with the competition stripes, well, in fact, any of them aren't 45. So this does actually feel like a full thickness guitar. Here's a Squier Strat. It's thicker than that. This Strat's 42. So you've got a full chunky body. So for those people who are like that, what is the neck like, Richard? What is the neck like? It's a very shallow, thin. It's supposed to be. It calls itself a C, but this feels a lot more like a U shape to me. A U-shaped neck. So it's got a little bit of a hump, here, and then it's quite flat at the back. Feels a bit like some of the Epiphone Les Pauls. I like that, like the Custom Pro is. What else is like that I can remember? The vintage V100 Les Pauls, like that. So yeah, I'd say it's a thin U, so it can be super user friendly. Now, before I give you a few tone demos, a couple of things to say about this. I just got it yesterday. It's obviously secondhand, it's about 3 or 4 years old. The strings, I think, are 3 or 4 years old. The intonation's not right, and even though I've just tuned it up, it sounds out of tune the second you put your fingers on it. The other thing with this one is the selector for the neck pickup is dodgy, so it's a bit on or offy. There you go, it should be on, but no. Come on. So that might scupper us slightly. So I'm going to do a few tones, and I've had a little play with it yesterday, and I was surprised actually how good they are. I'll turn the amp up a little bit. I like the sound of them. So you've got a volume and a tone. So I'm going to put both of those to the top to start with, and this is on the neck position. Oh, so sorry. It's on the cleanish channel. One thing you've probably seen from some other videos, I'm a bit obsessed with how well things sustain, and this is actually pretty good. It's okay, isn't it? So I'm going to turn the tone down a little bit. I'm also a stickler for, does the tone knob work? What does it do? Is it on or off? Well, I'd say it's not too bad. Yep, right. Crunchy channel, just quick razz on that. Annoy the neighbours a bit. Whoop, whoop. Right, put that off there. Oh, so out of tune. Boom, 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 boom. Press that button. Awful sound, awful. enough of that, shush. So it actually handles high gain surprisingly well. Anyway, a quick go on the neck. Does it sound like a Strat? There's a question. Or does it sound like a Telecaster? Another question. Does it sound out of tune? Yes, it does. I'd say it's funny that it's both kind of articulate and bright, but fat at the same time. Yeah. Right, let's have a little crunch on the front. Right, enough. So, Mustang Sally. What do I think to that? It's light as well, but don't let that put you off. I've had a few Harley Bentons that are made of basswood, and they're light, but they sustain okay. So, my overall thought, is this better than a Squier Mustang for starters? I'd say yes, it is. Obviously, it's going to be quite hard to get hold of one of these now because you don't see many of them. So I don't know whether the current general Mustang that Harley Benton make is as good as this, but you get a full thickness body, a very easy to use, neck, a nice fingerboard on here. The nut, which is the original, is cut okay. Tuners, just as good as any other budget guitar, so no issues with those. Surprisingly good sounding pickups as well. For me though, I'm not an offset man. This is not for me. This is going to disappear. It's a bit annoying, isn't it? I guess some other ones might have a three-way. I don't know, but if you're playing and you want to change your pickup, it's not as good as just a toggle switch, is it, or a blade switch? But I'd say it's decent. It's £85 to pay for this second hand. So is it worth that money? Well, yeah, with some new strings and a good setup and a switch, the switch being fixed, well worth the money, absolutely. So anyway, soz, waffled a bit there. Let me know if that's of interest. Be interested to know what other offset people think of that. I know there's lots of people out there that are crazy for them. Pretty looking guitar, sounds good, easy to play, a lot to like. So yeah, I'd be interested to hear your comments if you put them down below. Subscribe if you want to, don't if you don't want to. Like it if you'd like to, don't if you don't want to. What else can you do? Share if you want to, don't if you don't want to. And that's it. Rich out. Thank you.